Alright, hello everybody, we're back.
Yeah. Well, suppose that at least saves me having two chats popped out.
Yeah, no, it's quite useful actually, surprisingly enough.
Twitch doing something useful?
I know, I mean, their
I suppose it's been
implementation
known
of it
to happen.
is... Their implementation of it is a little bit questionable, but they got something right at the very least. So you know, I'll take what I can get, you know?
Right. Well, it's open. Feel free to join.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, goodness me. Back in Space Engineers. In creative mode, no less.
It's been a hot minute, hasn't it?
With mods! You've installed mods! My god! I feel like I'm seeing a whole new you!
More specifically, this save has all of the mods that are used in my my patron save. That's the only reason. That's the only reason there are mods here.
I see. But yes. Speaking of Space Engineers, Space Engineers 2, we have an announcement date now. January 27th for the start of Alpha for Space Engineers 2. Which, you know, not the worst thing in the world. Though I will say I'm a little bit disappointed by the fact that they've set creative mode, and that's about it. And survival mode is a long way off, apparently. I'm a little disappointed by.
I can see the disappointments, but I can also understand that from a development perspective.
Yes.
Like, creative mode is absolutely wonderful for debugging things.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All your... Hold on. Oh, that's fine. Okay. Like, it's fine. It's just, I feel like with Space Engineers, the first time they did it, they started from creative mode. And I feel like that negatively impacted the survival mode of things quite a lot when they, like, did stuff. I feel like starting from the survival mode side of things would probably make the play for Space Engineers a little more cohesive, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Where are you? I'm seeing a lot of stuff, but... Oh, wait, I see. The big thing with the nerd pole on it. Got it.
Basically, yes.
Okay. But yes. Space Engineers 2. What do you think of what's been shown so far, Line?
I haven't been watching it too closely. So I'm not. I don't have too many like heavily formed opinions about it. But I'm excited to see how like a next gen Space Engineers looks.
Okay. I mean, from what we've seen, like to start with, the unified grid system is, in my opinion,
yeah, the 25 centimeter grid as well is just. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good step forward. Like instead of having like large grid and small grid, it's just all one type of grid. It's just like you can build smaller things and bigger things on it, which is quite nice. Instead of having to like very, very carefully subgrid a small grid onto a large grid, which is what I do constantly, and it kills servers because of it. Like the unified grid system seems quite useful and quite fun. And I'm excited to see how that's gonna go. I am cautiously I'm cautiously optimistic for like water and planets, Because from what we've seen so far, it looks relatively good. Because they're going for volumetric water. Which is, in a lot of ways, it's a very difficult thing to pull off for video games in general.
Oh yeah.
So I'm cautiously excited to see
Ship designs for our big assault vessel? Yes. Cam, this is me attempting to come up with some cohesive design for Project Heracles. So, Lucian, for your benefit and the benefit of your audience, currently in my patron save, we're on a moon, and we want to try and have a ship that can take our smaller combat ships to the orange unidentified signals that are prototech.
Yes.
So we need something that is able to serve as essentially a support craft, a carrier, and something that can go like 2,000 kilometers.
Essentially, you want to build a mothership.
Essentially. Not mothership. I feel kind of implies like onboard refineries and assemblers and whatnot. This is just a support craft. But yeah.
Yeah. A carrier vessel, basically.
So this is currently the checkboxes, essentially, for what we have planned for Project Heracles.
I mean, my recommendation, admittedly a recommendation that I've given you before, is to completely dispense with the old shield generators mod. Because the old one is, as we know, a little buggy, and not amazing, and the new one just has one block, and it scales with your power output.
Yeah, but also, I prefer the old system. And also, basically every craft we've made inside of that save already uses the old system.
Yes, but the old system is very easily replaceable with the new system.
Yeah, but
it's a plug-and-play piece of swap. Basically.
It would nonetheless, directly impact a lot of things that we've built. So it's better.
Yes.
I still argue it's better to start from scratch on that. So this is just our working conditions, essentially.
I mean, honestly, I honestly really think that just switching out for the new deflector generator, deflector shields mod would be a lot. It would make things a lot simpler, and also the current the deflector shields mod is actually supported as well.
Yeah, whereas, this is old, I know.
Yeah, well, the the shield generator mod isn't just old; it's ancient. It was ancient a couple of years ago. It came out. Oh God, when did it come out? 6-7 years ago, I think.
I mean, I can check it on Steam, I guess. Let's see, workshop. Let's see, energy shields. That'll be the first one that I'm actually subscribed to.
Yep.
Let's see, posted in 2015, July 2015.
So that mod is 9 years old.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it is not supported anymore.
I mean, it was last updated February 2023, so it's not ridiculous. I have less mods. I have mods that are less supported.
It was updated in 2023 to remove a debug output.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Pretty much.
Whereas, yeah, no, I'm Cam, back me up here. Lying needs to switch mods. I know that you like to stick with mods that you're familiar with, Lying, but sometimes you need to make a change.
I'm autistic. I'm bad at making changes.
I know! That's why I'm trying to encourage.
I love that you joined me for some creative shipbuilding, and you're just the first thing you're doing before you place a singular block is just
trying to convince you
criticizing my mod choices.
I'm not criticizing your mod choices because I'm the one who introduced you to that mod in the first place.
Oh, so you're saying it's your fault?
I mean, to a certain degree, yes.
To a certain degree, you introduced me to it.
I introduced you to the mod. What I'm saying is, sometimes you need to update. You know? Sometimes you need to update. Cam can only be trusted to drive carefully and land a ship. I need more flight practice. But like the thing about the deflector shields mod is like it's one block, and it's literally a 2 by 1 by 1. It's not even a 3 by 3 by 3 anymore. They changed it. It's so much smaller now.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's so nice. It's really easy to use as well. Like you don't need to worry too much about power capacity anymore because like there's no like flux coils and flux capacitors. It's just here's your power output. Your
I like
shield
having
scale
those
with
though.
it. Yeah, but again, old mod, you know. Hey, Failing Salad, welcome.
Hello.
Okay. So
yeah, Cam's usual function in our sessions on that save is to like stand on the top of our base and just stare at the sky, looking for what signals there are and what that are getting close.
Cam's
Essentially,
the astronomer.
No, there are lookouts.
The stargazer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should switch out the deflector shields mod. That's
Well,
my opinion.
I haven't even placed the shield generator here. So
I
I've still
know.
got other
That's why
things
I'm
to worry
telling you to
about.
do it now before you place something. Just like it's an easy switch.
Are you all building spaceships? Well, I'm building spaceships.
I'm trying.
You're just
I'm
orbiting me and trying to argue me into making changes to the entire infrastructure of the world.
I'm not. It's a tiny change. It's a tiny change, like, and it'll do you good. It'll do everyone good.
Do you have any idea how much math I would have to go back and redo to figure out what I need to put down for this?
You wouldn't have to redo any of it. Like, you wouldn't have to redo any of it because it's literally a plug and play swap.
No.
Yes.
because the values of things will be different.
Come on.
Like how many shield points I get for like a given power output, for instance.
For me, lying.
You're not a patron of mine. You don't play on that save.
I know.
You're arguing for something that will not impact you at all.
You invited me to build here. You invited me to assist.
This isn't my patron save. This is the creative world.
I know, but that's my point.
And I invited you because I know you like making spaceships.
Well, yes, but still, I'm the guest here. Am I not allowed to request?
You're the guest and you're making demands of the host.
I'm not demanding. I am politely requesting.
You absolutely are demanding.
Oh.
Anyways, grab your blocks and get to work. build your own design.
Give me my shields and I'll grab my blocks.
Okay, you want your shields? One second.
I want my shields.
Yeah, that'll do. You may be immortal, but I bet this still buzzes.
Hold on. Let me load up my toolbar. I would like my shield, please. I have a tiny S10 pistol. I would like my shields, please.
Sounds like the most British fight over tea time you ever heard while watching them build spaceships. Basically, that is essentially our dynamic.
It always has been, yes.
I am curious why I can't seem to put a conveyor right here. I wonder if that's because I've somehow. No, this is connected to everything. So I'm not sure exactly why it hasn't put a conveyor right here.
Hold on, let me. Can you op me? Line.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yep. Cool.
Things I'm probably going to regret, but here we go. There you go. Hey!
That's why.
Well, that had to happen eventually, I guess, when I was building some design like this.
It's, I've
Inevitable.
done it so many times. It's just like, oh, I've cut something out that I didn't mean to, and it's immediately gone weird. Yeah. The easiest way to counter that is to make your ship a station for the duration of the construction.
I mean, this is a station.
Is it? Because those would have joined back together if it was.
I can tell you with certainty that I have already cut off this entire nerd pole kind of bits and reattached it.
Weird. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm thinking the best approach for a ship of this kind of like function is like a needle, essentially.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, are you thinking more of an aircraft carrier, just a platform?
Well, not a platform per se, but like... I'm assuming this is the front, right?
That is my current approach to it, yes.
Well, my thought was more like... Well, with like general combat ships, you want the front to be a bit of a battering ram.
I mean, this thing's meant to have enough energy shields that it will survive basically any fight we take it into, but yes.
Okay, but what if your energy shields run out, you know? Like,
then we are walking home, most probably.
Well, yeah, well that's why you design the front to be a battering ram, so that it can take the fire and then, well, slam. You know? Come on,
hey Jack,
slam.
how you doing?
And welcome to the jam. You know? Hey Jack Hammerstone, welcome. Yeah, we're doing some shared chattery today. Okay. So are you thinking like just phallic, or is there going to be more to this than just
I mean, if this resembles your phallus, you should probably see a plastic surgeon.
What I mean is, are you just going to go for one long cylinder, or are you planning to have more to it than that?
A lot of the time when you see, like, a colony ship or a ship that's meant to go, like, between galaxies, that kind of design, they tend to be very long. Not very much, like, on the outsides, just, like, they're a long thing. They might have, like, a spinning ring, or they might have some, like, solar panels in ways. This isn't a warship, it's not meant to be in combat. Not quite so. It is meant to survive combat. It is not meant to be, like, the thing that is doing the combat.
I mean, I don't know.
As I said, it's meant to just tank it. I ran the numbers that are on that board to get to 1 million shield points and recharging again from 0 from like 7-8 seconds.
So this might lag a little.
Oh dear, you're spawning something in, aren't you?
I'm spawning something in.
Okay.
This was my very, very early attempt at what I thought of as a colony ship, essentially.
Oh.
Give it a second.
Yeah, there we go.
Look, there's some thrusters.
Oh, this looks familiar.
it's to a degree familiar, but it's not spawned in yet. So there we go.
Is this not the Folly?
Oh no, this isn't the Folly. The Folly's like 3 times bigger.
Why do you have one levitating off-center Gatling gun at the front here?
Modded weaponry that hasn't spawned in properly, basically.
I see.
All the weapons were modded. This was back in the days when I was a full-on mod fiend.
Yeah, this is probably a lot bigger than we need.
Oh yeah, no, this is way bigger. But my point is, like, this was my thought of like what a colony ship should be like, and it was mostly like massive glass paneling, like plenty of essentially like walking areas for passengers, and then in the center it had what was essentially the storage bay for the colonists, which was just rows upon rows of cryopods. And that was kind of what I viewed as like a colony ship, because that felt right.
Yeah, I will say though, we already have Saw on the patron save, so we kind of already have one person building ships of the Imperium.
Well, this was never...
And this is...
I actually didn't know much about 40k when I first started building
but I can definitely say this is a floating Gothic cathedral.
It is a little bit. In fairness, like, this is one of my very early designs, so I was not really familiar with Space Engineers building back in this day. Like, you can tell it's early because all of the conveyors are, like, standard conveyors, and none of them are, like, you know...
Reinforced or anything, no.
Yeah,
Or hidden.
and, like, all the cover walls are the really old versions that are slightly weird. And the airlocks don't really exist, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm gonna delete this now. Yeah, sorry. It lags a little bit when you delete.
That's another reason for us to not build something that big.
Well, no, that's what I'm trying to say with that is, like, I feel like a colony ship, generally speaking, wouldn't be an armored vessel, essentially.
Yeah, which is all the more reason for us to go kind of ham on energy shielding.
Yes. So, but yes, but no. I think you need at least a little bit of armor if you're going for a carrier. Like, it doesn't matter how much energy shielding you have. At some point, regardless of how it goes, eventually something is going to fail. It's always good to have a backup, you know? I'm gonna lay out a little thought experiment design.
Ew.
Just like a tiny little semi-blueprint. So, here's my thought. What if, instead of doing, like, oh, here's the arrowhead, if you will, you build something a little more like this, where the sort of middle section, right? Like, you've got the arrowhead at the front, and then the middle section is like a landing deck that's covered from the front and the back, but has the sides and the top open, so that you can easily dock and undock fighter craft, right?
That sounds like the giant spacecraft equivalent of a flatbed truck.
Well, no, because then, like, at the front and the back, it's sealed, or not sealed, but it's covered, and then you have these 4 large nacelles that have forward, backwards thrust, and side to side, and up and down. And all the thrust is at the back, all the armor is at the front, and then all of the carrying systems and, like, stuff are in the middle, and then you have the jump drives and power systems between the nacelles at the back, sort of moved a bit further forward.
I'm just kind of trying to throw... I think I will probably end up deleting this exterior to this at the moment, so I'm just kind of like getting a fixture for how I want the internals organized. You know how I build. I tend to build like
you build function first.
Yeah. Form follows function is the mantra that so many architecture students have been taught. And then I just try to like make it look. I try to compress it all into there's no wasted space, and then there's just like everything it needs, and it looks mostly nice, which also tends to mean that it looks it looks interesting, not necessarily like good, but it looks interesting. Is how I tend to build things.
Yeah. Hold on. I might have a design that might resonate with you a little bit. So this one is a little older. Very old, actually. There we go. That is my old design for a carrier Zeppelin.
Oh, like, where am I looking? Ah, right, the other gigantic phallic grey thing in this world.
Yes. This thing was designed to run on hydrogen. It was designed to run in atmosphere, actually.
I love the notion that you have colossal firing hydrogen thrusters entirely adjacent to massive hydrogen tanks.
Yeah, I mean, this entire thing technically speaking, works like a Zeppelin should, in that all of the lift systems are on the inside, and it's mostly empty. But, you know, this might serve as an example of what I mean.
You're thinking,
are
you thinking then, like, internal thrusters hidden from fire?
Internal thrusters, maybe, but I was mainly thinking something along the lines of... Hold on, let me chop this up a little bit so that I can give you a better idea of what I was thinking. Alright, cut that piece out. And cut this section out. Like that. And then I was thinking something a little like this. A little flatter, maybe a little bit more like a command deck. Or like a carrier deck. But with essentially like having this...
I would almost call this a kind of like dry dock approach.
I suppose. I mean,
this looks kind of like a harbor at the top here.
Could do. But essentially just like, maybe not anywhere near this big, obviously, but like thinking along the lines of, oh, well, here's your carrier deck, you have the fighter launch bays with an upwards launch system or a forwards launch system, so you can go regardless of the direction, really. And it's easy to dock back up, but they're still protected on all sides except the top and the front. But then you have these massive front and rear sort of bulk pieces that can be used to better protect the fighter craft that are in here. And additionally, with the energy shields, regardless of it, when the fighters are docked in, they'll be consuming power and energy shield sharing systems as well.
I will say that the vast majority of our fighters actually have like onboard generators and onboard shielding.
Oh,
so
I'm aware of that.
It's more like they contribute to it than they drain it.
Yeah. But it's like they'll be sharing their energy shield systems as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of the idea that I mean of like, oh, so you can have that massive bulk at the front as your defensive battering ram. The massive bulk at the back is for all your power systems and all of the storage and stuff like that. And then in the middle, it's just docking systems and defense, basically. Which might work quite well. I mean, depending on how many things you want to be able to dock in the middle, essentially.
I mean, the more the merrier. There's also the matter of, this is a ship that's meant to go to prototech encounters and, like, retrieve the components, essentially. So, in addition to being able to jump something like 2,000 kilometers, it needs to be able to actually have places for us to, like, connect blocks.
Okay, so
like,
it needs
like
a
back
storage
place
deck, basically.
It needs a physical in-place storage area, essentially.
Yeah,
And my first thought of that was to have like mag plates on the outside with buttons that we can turn them on and off.
You don't want to do that. That's a bad idea.
Oh?
If you put them on the outside, right? Then your main issue is going to be, as you're trying to run away, all of your prototech stuff is going to get shot at.
Well, this would be like, we would be salvaging things post-combat, so that doesn't seem too bad to me.
Well, yes, but if something else spawns in and decides to come after you, then that's going to be an issue immediately. It's like, you've basically turned all of your salvage into armor, and because it's mag-plated, the energy shields aren't going to cover it.
The Reavers? Yeah, the Reavers are a big problem.
Yeah. And especially with something this big, outputting this amount of power, and with all of those extra fighter systems on board it, those Reavers are going to be attracted to it.
Yeah, I grant you
And I
that.
still think you should switch the energy shield mod.
Yeah. Space Pirate Station was educational. Yeah, we were always attacked by them. Yes. We are frequently actually, they don't tend to attack us as much anymore. They tend to pick fights with anybody else overhead.
Yeah.
Because we intentionally keep our signals off so that we don't attract attention. But
Hmm. Well,
that
it's not
said,
just
we're
signals
we're
that
in the
attract
position
them.
now where yeah, it's like it's just general energy presence essentially. But
Yeah,
antennae
it's
and core
grid
detectors do
power
do give them
and
a lot of
combat
notice.
ability, etc.,
Uh-huh.
etc. Yeah.
Yeah, what we have learned is that the Reavers will eat the space pirates quite handily,
Oh,
um,
yes, absolutely.
because the space pirates tend to be a lot under armored or under gunned compared to the Reavers.
Well, yeah, the space pirates are designed for vanilla. The Reavers are
Yeah,
designed to
the
kill
space
you.
pirates are pre-grid AI even, so it's very easy to pick them off at this point. But the
Yeah.
Prototech encounters aren't, which is also a concern.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there is a turret with 1400-meter range on a Prototech encounter, odds are it can detect you at 1400 meters.
Oh, yes.
Whereas
More
usually
than likely.
it's only like 800.
Do you want me to start work on a uh
A
well,
concept, shall we
a
call it?
concept, yes. Well, I was gonna say, do you want to do yours and I'll do mine next to it, and we can compare notes as we go.
Yeah,
Essentially.
that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay. Give me my color palette. Load. I do love my little quality of life mods, like being able to load a color palette from like save and load my toolbar and stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
fun. Okay. Alright. Actually, I think I have something for this to start off with. Yeah. Might as well use this.
Just need to
What?
crack this proverbial egg.
I mean, I think Saw will like this, to be honest.
Oh, does it also look like Battlefleet Gothic?
I mean, just take a look, like, take a look.
Is this the front end of a Klingon cleave ship?
It's a battering ram prow that
Well,
was
yeah.
kind of designed around, like, you know, Battlefleet Gothic a little bit. This one was actually designed after I found out about Warhammer. And I was like, ooh, hello, you look fancy.
Lucian, tell me what happened to the subgrids on their ship on Sunday. They haven't. What happened?
Oh, they exploded.
Predictable.
Yes. No, the subgrids on my little ship on the save for on the Saturn survival save that I've been playing on just went pop and destroyed half my station.
Oof.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not too bad as it turns out.
That's something at least.
Yeah.
Take a look in Lying in Space. Oh, I'm curious now. What have you posted? Uh, not quite what I had in mind. So, though that is a nice look for sure. That's kind of getting a bit closer to like Destiny from Stargate Universe, or maybe some kind of far future Romulan warbird. There we go. Okay.
Not sure that I'll go with this. Maybe I'll. Yes, actually, it's not a bad idea.
All right. So there's kind of just the isolated internals that got going. I feel like I could squeeze in some more oxygen. It's never a bad thing to have more oxygen.
No, not a bad thing.
Blessedly, space engineers does not generally gas flammability.
Thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
Though they may do in Space Engineers too. We do not know.
No, don't. I hope they don't.
It would be interesting if they did.
It would
But,
be interesting if I could shoot at an enemy place at an enemy base and it would explode appropriately. But I would prefer that not happen to my stuff.
well, yes. No, that's fair. That's fair, I suppose. I'm trying to remember. Maybe.
Alright,
If
so
I...
that's 3 jump drives, 4 large reactors. I've got oxygen, hydrogen, and cargo storage.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to work in. Let's see, where did I put the? There it is. Glad I put blinking lights on this checklist. I need to work in the large shield generator, a lot of batteries,
Mm-hmm.
and a respawn capacity. I think I'm on the way to something functional here.
Hmm.
Do I want to put... Oh, Corsair from Star Wars? Looks like what Lucian was talking about, armor at the front, important bits at the back, big bay to keep looting fighters. Yeah, I'm thinking a lot more minimalist, essentially.
Of course you are.
Of course I am. That is the quintessential distinction in our building in our building designs. Is you tend to go maximalist and I tend to be minimalist.
Well, no, I tend to go aestheticist, which is not
Eh,
necessarily maximalist.
I mean, I'm building my thought of this design is what if we glue what if we glue the supported ships on the outside? Yours is let's build them hangars.
Well, no, mine is let's build them a landing platform, not
Hmm.
necessarily hangars. Can you give me a rough size of what the fighters are like?
Let's see. Do I have something in my selection here? Do you remember the Beagle?
Yes.
I would
My version
say,
was better.
yeah. I would say that they are more or less the size of the Beagle.
Okay, yeah, I can.
Like that's honestly probably bigger than most of them, but I think that's a decent reference.
Mm-hmm.
The Hornet is the one I've most recently made, but it's I don't have a blueprint of that, so I'd have to
Yeah,
shut down the
and your
server and boot
beagle
it up
was
again.
slightly smaller than my beagle, so
Mm-hmm.
that should be a decent reference. Okay.
Yeah, this is a decent idea of like the typical size of one of
So
our fighters, I would say.
about 3 blocks wide by 5 blocks long. Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So 5 by 7. Okay. Yeah, that should work. Yeah. So tell Lang that they need to upgrade their deflector shields, Mom.
Don't you start again.
I can't help it. I want you to work on a better system. The old deflector shields mod is lovely, but it's incredibly antiquated. Okay. Actually, should we? You're going for like a full-on needle design, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my idea. Personally, I would use both layer shielding. I mean, sure, but that is a lot of power you're asking for, so.
I mean, I wouldn't, because that could probably, like, two sets of shield mods that essentially do basically the same thing could probably cause issues, is my thought, realistically
Yeah,
speaking.
absolutely.
Let's try... Ooh, that could be interesting. Yeah.
It's worth doing. It's worth overdoing. That is why you decided to move to the planet Sol, because you didn't want to like end up in the situation where you frequently do, which was hoarding all of our resources to build your one ship. Unfortunately for Sol, Helgen is covered with a lot of lightning,
Yeah, no,
which was totally fine actually for Sol for like months because we couldn't figure out why he just suddenly stopped taking lightning damage on all of his stuff.
hmm.
And then I checked the world settings and somehow lightning damage had been turned off. So did not last very long after I turned it back on.
Yes. Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do... Are you going... Are you thinking of planetary entry with this thing,
No,
or
I
no? Okay.
the checklist calls for 0.3 G like viability. This thing is
So
not going
l-
planet side.
lunar at best, basically.
Lunar at best, yes.
Okay. Good to know. So realistically, ions is your plan. Do you
Yeah,
plan for any
absolutely.
hydrogen storage at all,
I
or
mean, hydrogen storage, yes. Some of the fighters
just
do use hydrogen, but this
yeah?
thing itself should just use ions.
Okay. All right. I think I'll start from the back then.
Where my beams gone? There they definitely left beams.
Just for you, Lying, I won't build this with any subgrids.
I mean, you won't have to live with them. I will.
Exactly. Which is why I said I won't put any on here.
Hmm.
How sad. God, I had to swear off major subgrids when I was playing on the Saturn world,
Hmm.
and I was so sad about it. I can't believe I had to swear off subgrids. It doesn't happen often, but yeah. What if slightly offset thruster pack? Yeah. I feel like those were close together.
Definitely like the idea that the like middle portion of this is like a walkable space.
Hmm.
And the scaffolding has like these little handholds on the sides, which really makes me think if people are like working on this thing and it starts moving, they can grab a hold and steady themselves. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm. You do. Oh, buggery.
You could.
Yeah, pasting things in and it pasted it in the wrong place. Fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, that could work. The one thing about like ion thrusters that annoys me is that they're 2x3s. It's
Yep.
just like, can I please have a can I please have just unevens, please, all the way around? But no, not allowed. Ah, it makes me sad. Okay. That. Ooh, or what if instead of having it be a 2x3 or a 5x3, do something like this, and then hmm. What do you guys think, chat? Thoughts on this visual, I suppose?
I don't know what happened to the tech base on the patron server. Despawn, you have to claim them before they will just disappear. They have like an hour timer. Yeah, but realistically, there was no way we were getting to that in any time frame. We did have a bit of a pilgrimage. We attempted a pilgrimage to it, just by like sublight essentially. And we quickly, I ran the numbers, traveling at like 100 meters per second. We would probably have taken like hours to get to the thing. So there was no way it wasn't going to despawn. But there was still a prototech ship there that I could see. So it was fun to try. The attempt was made.
Fair enough. Looking at this thruster system and wondering, do I want to make it so that you have ridiculous thrust, or do I want to be moderate in the thrust and give you smaller thrusters?
Fair enough. How goes?
Everything goes. World goes.
Would have needed a speed mod that brings us up to a reasonable speed for space. Yes, we would have need to have exceeded the speed of light, as far as space engineers is concerned.
Space Engineers 2 has a minimum speed of, or maximum speed of 300 meters a second. Have you heard?
Imagine that. I hadn't, no.
Yeah, I know. It's insanity. It's incredible. Who knew that people could travel over 100 meters a second?
Oh, not I, that's for sure. Let's see,
Do these
can I
have an up and a down, or is it just symmetrical? It's just symmetrical, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Let's plug some of these in. They won't be connected, but I'm kind of curious about the visuals.
So,
I do kind of like that.
Hmm?
I was just thinking of how to put oxygen generation, and if I could put it in between the docking. That is a nice look. They're not connected at all right now, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's
Which reminds me,
do...
Dungeon's not connected.
Oh, you're gonna want some batteries in here, probably.
Absolutely. That's going to bring the weight up. Let me see. What is this current stick kind of thing up to? Let's see. Total mass. It is currently a station, so it has 0. Let's see. About 500,000 on the mass.
That's not too bad.
I don't know if that's measured in grams or kilograms. I presume it's kilograms.
Who knows?
Presumably somebody that coded this game.
Probably.
We need them poking out so they can actually get some sunlight. Yes, that is the thought. But if the idea is that things like dock here, and then these are just coming up, then it shouldn't be too hard to have just like a junction here.
Let's do a little bit of...
I don't think there is like an X junction, except for like pipes.
Let's do these.
Well, pipes would look pretty decent on this build. I do like pipes.
Everybody likes pipes. Definitely want these on the side. Do something like this.
I haven't even tried to add the shield generator into this thing yet. But as I was discussing at the start of my stream, the problem is that this shield generator is even sized, whereas the jump drives and basically everything else here is odd.
You know, the lovely thing about the deflection
Yeah,
generator is
yeah.
that it's a 1x2, so it is not even sized. You can just put it in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, lying. I know. I'm not gonna shut up about it. You can't make me.
Seemingly not.
You knew what you were getting yourself into when you invited me along.
Vaguely.
Vaguely. Vaguely, they say.
By my numbers, this thing can handle 8 upgrades on a large shield generator, which is enough to give it about 1,000,000 shield points. Which hopefully will be plenty.
Fingers crossed.
Like, this thing isn't meant to be in combat. It still might get picked up as a priority target by the AI, but this thing is just meant to be like hanging out and not really doing much in the way of combat. Besides just resupplying our smaller, much shorter range ships. You prefer the defense shields mod? Everyone's got their favorites.
The defense shields mod is okay. I always have trouble with it because, like, it requires weapon core as, like, an add-on to it, and, well, we've had trouble with weapon core in the past. That's not to say it's not a good mod, it's just, yeah, we've had trouble with it, so... Let's do a little bit of armor paneling.
Alright, how much does this much need to fly? Let's find out. This needs 1.5 thousand, it looks like, kilonewtons of thrust, but that's not including the cargo container. So this would currently need 2 large ion thrusters to levitate in 0.25 is the exact number that the main save base is at. We're aiming for 0.3 just in case. So yeah, 2 large ions or 16 small ions on the underside. I think I can manage.
Too bad.
No, it's quite manageable. Looks like I'm missing an oxygen here as well.
I mean, I didn't say that weapon core is bad, so I just said that we've had issues with it in the past.
Yes.
And, you know, honestly, these days, I prefer Space Engineers in a more modded light environment than a modded heavy. And I think weapon core comes under the modded heavy category at that point. If you're going, like, full weapon core mods, then yeah, you're stepping into heavy modding territory. Because you're basically, like, replacing the entire base weapon system for Space Engineer.
Do you happen to know offhand what the burn distance is of a small thruster, a small ion thruster?
5 blocks.
5. Oh.
I mean, generally speaking, 5 blocks is the best safety for anything, burn-wise. Pretty much everything at 5 blocks distance, you're fine. Except for large hydrogens. I'm not entirely sure about those. Those might be longer.
Well, let me station this, turn off the shield generator, and see if it takes damage, I guess. Okay, so station should have
batteries in here.
0 shielding right now. Grab a welder. And dial the thrust override as high as I can take it. Is this taking damage?
I love how
That's
you're
their...
experimenting with, like, thrust override, and I'm sitting here like, oh, this thruster bank looks quite nice, like this.
Well, let me see. So far it looks like nothing's taking damage there, and that is 3 blocks apart. Okay, so that's good. That means my little docking modules are actually perfectly spaced apart for me to hide thrusters in them. Nice.
Looking at this and thinking to myself, I need to bring these through. I think I do. Get rid of these ones.
So that solves forward and reverse thrust, I guess.
I suppose.
And let's see. Large ion. Oh. Oh, right. For a brief second, I thought he was going to perfectly fit underneath the docking modules. A brief moment. The underside of these docking modules is 3x3. Tragedy. Oh well.
Now, the one thing I don't like about Space Engineers' copy-paste systems is that you can always aim at a block and then it'll copy it from a completely different place. This is fine. There. Swap. Yeah.
Let's see, that is 6, 12, 18 batteries. Heck. Thank you, symmetry mode. Just deleted the entire the entire large shield generator and parts of its upgrades.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay. Well, this means I don't have to go back through and turn them back on.
You know what? Take that away.
Yep. Right.
No.
What am I missing? Besides thrusters and aesthetics, I guess. I am missing...
Oh, I don't know. You're always missing aesthetics, lying.
I'm missing a med lab. Or a survival kit, at least. I suppose a survival kit is probably the more efficient option.
Med bay is faster, but...
Medbay is faster, but this isn't really meant to be a place where you come to heal. This is a place where you come to respawn.
Yeah, that's true.
So I should bite the bullet and actually fix these connectors as well.
That's not too bad, actually. I quite like that. This is 3 blocks. I should go 2 blocks.
I do like the new inset connectors. They do look very pretty.
Yeah, they're not amazing to use, I will say that much, but
Yeah.
they are fun. They are useful. When you need something like that.
There we go. That's docking for 8 potential small ships. How's the mass doing? Especially now with the batteries in it. 750,000.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Still just 2 large ions to levitate and point free gravity. Good. Doing well.
Set that in there.
At a certain point, I think I'm accidentally taking visual inspiration from the USG Ishimura.
Oh.
Accidentally.
It's not the worst piece of inspiration you could take things from.
Yeah, it's not a bad looking ship. It is going a little bit back to cathedrals, but
I mean,
and also that was a horror story.
It always seems to be the case with, like, a lot of spaceship designs. It's like, how do I make this ship look cool aesthetically? I know, let's go gothic.
Hmm.
It's not a bad thing, it's a thing that happens sometimes.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly what wasn't something I planned for, but it seems to frequently happen. I think part of it is, I very much like the look of the beam blocks, and when you have enough of those in one place, it starts to look like ribs.
Yes, this is true. I mean, look at what I'm working on right now. It's got beam blocks everywhere.
So hang on.
Literally.
You have been working on basically just thruster assemblies this entire time. I have most of the ship.
Not quite just thruster assemblies, but yeah, partially.
You've got cowling, Lucian.
Yes, I'm aware. I like to work in style, unlike you.
There's no point in it. It doesn't matter how pretty it is if it doesn't do the job it's built for.
Well, it'll do the job it's built for. I just want it to look pretty first.
Oh, that reminds me. Do I have?
Do you have the large warfare reactors as an accessible thing that you have?
Yes, I do.
Yes, okay. Just making sure. Just so that I don't build something that you can't build, basically.
Currently, the only DLC I don't have, and I'm probably going to get for Christmas, is the Contact.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Okay, no, the large warfare reactors are still 3x3, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
So,
All the
yeah,
additionals are the same. It's just
yeah.
a little different visually.
So I probably don't need to bother removing the extremely old vanilla ones here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, have I disconnected something again?
You may very well have. Easiest way to check: copy and paste.
Because somehow I can't place a conveyor in the dead middle here. Ah, I see why. Because there was a gyroscope attached to the underside of that block when I removed it.
Yeah,
Classic error.
that's how it be.
There we go. This is definitely going to be the kind of ship, firstly, that probably deserves like a full-blown like bridge, but
Hmm.
also that definitely wants the whoever is piloting this thing to have oxygen access, because they're going to be hanging around for a while.
No pressurized chambers?
Maybe a pressurized chamber if I go the way of building a whole bridge, but
Hmm.
they definitely, regardless, there needs to be a flow of oxygen to the captain, to the
Yes.
pilot, because if they warp in, and I know I've definitely had like I think it was Esper and Cam on our little pilgrimage were kind of the like support craft crew.
Hmm.
So like whoever is piloting this ship is going to be hanging out in the pilot seat of it for quite some time. So they should be the last people to run out of oxygen.
Yeah.
Because then, once again, we're walking home. This is some 2,000 kilometers. Okay. I think I need to make this longer. But other than
Longer?
that, longer.
That that is a surprise. You don't usually. That's not usually your style, is it?
7 hours or even longer. Yeah, that's how long. That's one of that was one of the estimates of how long it would take us to get to the Protech encounter we were looking at.
Yeah, that is usually the case. Hello, Bad Cop. Thank you for the follow, my friend. Welcome to the stream. You're doing some Space Engineers this evening.
Uh-huh.
Not the expected thing to be doing this evening, but you know, I'll
Hello.
take what I can get. It's always nice to hang out with friends.
Tell me about it.
I would, but I'm currently doing it. It feels a bit redundant to describe the activity I'm currently doing, you know?
Hmm.
Does that feel right? Yes. Well.
You good?
Pondering my choices.
Ah, yes. I imagine you do that often.
Well, only when I feel like something doesn't look quite right.
Okay. How's that? Look, yeah, I can see this. Bearing in mind that the Beagle has like double connectors at the bottom that are so it kind of ends up being offset anyways. I think that's quite good. Hmm. Okay. So let's see, it's 2 large ions or 17 small currently. That doesn't seem to be a huge concern.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, and 2 large ions give out 8.6 thousand kilonewtons of thrust. This ship currently needs about 5.6, so I've got plenty of room here. I think it might still be best to build this near the moon, and then take it out of gravity so that everything else can connect to it. Because every new ship that connects to your main craft, as it were, it takes an extra toll on its thrusters.
Yes.
So this may be something that we build moon side and then primarily leave in orbit.
Makes sense.
Okay, so duplicates. Flip. And the next bit I need to think about making is most probably the loot carrying, essentially.
Yeah, that looks good.
So let me think. Your suggestion was make sure that the prototype blocks that we recover are shielded,
Yes.
or at least behind armor.
Yeah.
And they don't count if they're not connected by a connector, just by mag plates.
Yeah, if they're connected by mag plates, they won't get shielded, essentially. In fact, no, if they're connected by mag plates, that part should be fine, but they won't get shielded. The other, the bubble shields mod, that one just, if it's not set up properly, it'll just shred a block that gets too close. But that's the weapon core one. So, no need to worry with that.
So, if I carried it through with another ship into the field of that shield, it would just destroy the block?
The weapon core bubble shields mod will sometimes just shred another person's ship if it's not set up properly. It's, but the bubble shields mod is one of the ones that I really don't like using because of those systems are they're never quite, you never quite know if they're gonna work properly until you test it out, and by then it's a little too late.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Maybe we do want to just plan. Looking at this and going, how do I feel about this? I don't know.
We definitely need a hangar. I mean, I don't think we want a hangar. I don't think we need a hangar for our actual ships. Not for this thing, anyways. But for our loot, maybe. That I can see the argument. I do like these little docking pods I've got at the moment. So let me see. Enough thrust to survive 0.3 G, yes. Respawn capacity, not at the moment. Cargo storage for munitions and loot, yes. Gas storage, yes. Jump drives. ideally 80 batteries. I'm definitely not that many, but there is quite a few. Let's see, 6 plus 24, that's 30, plus another 4 from the docking pods, that's 34, it's about halfway. I'm sure that's going to adjust my thrust calculations, but I'll manage.
And you have to work on out all of your power to thrust calculations as well, taking into account shields as well.
Oh yes, that is why that is why one of the checkboxes is 1 gigawatt power capacity.
That's why I like using hydrogen. It's like you don't have to take power into account for hydrogen thrust. You just have to take into account fuel storage.
Mainly I went with that particular value because it is kind of ludicrously high. Because I wanted it as like insurance. I never want this thing to run out of power for its shields.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm just like I don't want. I usually don't want to worry about that stuff. So my main thought is like, oh well, the easiest way to not worry about that stuff is to just not have to deal with it at all.
And then you have the secondary problem of running out of hydrogen and then just being stuck in space.
That's why you overcompensate on the hydrogen tanks.
And then your ship gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And it looks pretty in the process. I know what I'm doing.
I hope so. You've played this game for long enough.
Although I will never get used to the rotation controls. I will say that
much. No one ever remembers them between sessions.
Oh god, it's just like, what's turning left and right? No, it's changed. I've changed orientation, so the controls have changed as well. Great.
Yep. Every single time, without fail.
Yep.
Okay. So I've got 2 major pieces so far, and I need a third. But once stuff is hooked up to this thing, I shouldn't need to go into gravity anyways, so it shouldn't be too much of an impact on it.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Let's have a look at the size of prototech blocks. Especially when a lot of them are large grid.
They're pretty large.
Yeah, okay, so the prototech jump drive is the same size as a regular one. Except it cannot be connected on one of its sides, interestingly enough. Which makes it slightly more inconvenient than the vanilla.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than the vanilla one, but... interesting. Prototech drill, we can probably have that be one. Small one. The prototech battery, a small mag will do that. Same with the gyroscope. A small mag with the prototech assembler, though it probably needs enough room. Same with the refinery. The thruster, on the other hand. There we go.
That is big.
It is actually right now, by sheer accident, about as wide as the space between my little craft here and the Beagle. Which, let me see, is about... That's about 30 meters wide, like just long. That probably wants, firstly, to be stored in an upright position. Secondly, probably needs a large mag. So almost everything but the thruster needs to have a large magnetic plate for it.
Well, I think you should have enough batteries in this thing if you decide to use it.
Hmm,
Hmm.
large plate. Right there. Okay. Would be nice if the large magnetic plate had a more agreeable basing, but
Hmm.
like it just kind of it's very hard to make something that actually matches up with it. Just
Yeah.
kind of it expects to be placed on a flat surface, a contiguous flat surface. But okay, let's see. A standard Prototech encounter, I think, has up to potentially 3 blocks you can salvage, give or take.
Depends on the Prototech
Yeah,
encounter.
depends on the encounter, but I'm pretty sure it goes up to 3.
Yes, I believe so. The Prototank encounters that I've had have mainly been like 1 salvageable block.
Yeah.
It's always good to be prepared.
Yep, yep. So here's the next question: do I put the like Protect block storage at the front of the ship, or like in front of like before or after the like connectors? I guess.
I don't know what your like system layout's going to be like, so I can't really answer that.
Hmm.
Should be good.
No. Oh, that's not a
Oh,
half box. That's
yes.
a full box. My mistake.
Lovely bit of inset block work.
No.
Oh. Ooh, ouchie. Snapped.
There. I
Let's
almost kind of
add
prefer
some
this
more
without the bracing I
batteries
put on
in.
top.
I mean,
So
you don't need it.
I
Well,
mean,
I
yeah,
say you don't
not for
need
any
it.
structural possible reason, but
What I mean to say is you can always change the design.
yeah, yeah. And I feel like this should go at the end, at the far end.
Hmm.
because then it'll provide some like visual balancing between the bulky back end.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense in actual space, and certainly not in Space Engineers. But
I am always of the opinion that it doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to look cool. And if it looks cool, your brain will make up a reason for it to make sense.
let's see. Here's an important aesthetic question for you, there, Lucian. Do I use the same type of like thruster aesthetic all the way through? Like if I start with warfare thrusters, do I stick with warfare thrusters or do I mix and match?
That is actually a really good question. I tend to stick with like the same thruster aesthetic, but there are some really good examples out there of like mix and matching thruster aesthetics to make it look that end up making it look really cool, visually speaking. And then there's some examples that are like, oh, that does not look good at all. No. So, I don't know. I mean, it's really up to the person, like, what they particularly want from their thrusters, if you will. But, I personally prefer to, like, have a cohesive thruster system. That, like, it looks like it was all built around about the same time, essentially. That's my personal view on it, anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a decent view of it.
Like, when I'm building a ship, I'm always like, oh, well, how would this have looked when it came out of the shipyard, you know? And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, in that case, all of the rooms would be cleaned, there wouldn't be any clutter on the inside. But, like, you'd look at it and you'd go, oh, yeah, no, that would go there, that would go there. That all makes sense. That's how that would put together. So it's like, if like the day the ship left dry dock is how I view how I build my ships. Like, it has to look like, because like that, when people download it off the workshop, for example, they can look at it and go, oh, I can decorate this to how I want it to look now. Sort of thing. Maybe that's just me, though. I don't know.
No. I think that's a decent approach for the most part. Okay. Kind of annoyed there isn't a diagonal wall that I can find, anyways.
There is.
There is?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it.
Are you looking for, like, an interior diagonal wall?
No, like one of the cover walls.
Oh, cover... yeah, no, not with the cover walls, sadly. That's very annoying. There's, like, a corner, but there's no, like, diagonal. There are diagonal railings, if that helps, but...
Maybe, but I think this would look better with just, like, full opacity, I guess the phrase would be.
I mean, you can use, like, diagonal, panels.
I could, but they wouldn't be, like, half height.
Yeah, they would.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Half height diagonal panels?
Yeah.
Let me have a look at this.
Ta-da! Look.
Light armor panel half slope. That is...
I think there's... yeah, and there's, like, the 25-degree ones as well, if you want to use those.
I'm just trying to think of, like, some way to connect... just to cordon off this so somebody doesn't potentially walk off the edge. I guess railings are the, like, quintessential object of, hey, don't go over this, but...
Yeah, but if you want it to look a little better, then yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
I think the fire cover walls do look good for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We do a painting, but so could the entire thing. Okay, I need to add left and right thrusters. This whole shebang. Because right now
I already
it
have
goes
those
up
in
and
build.
down, forward and back.
I have
Yes, as
everything
part of your
except
entire thruster
backwards.
assembly, yes, you have them built.
Yeah. The only thing I don't have is backwards thrust. But we'll get there.
Let me see how this looks with a different style of thruster. Hello, Madeline.
Hi, Madeline.
Okay, with this, I think the sci-fi style of iron thruster does look pretty nice next to the magnetic plates. Kind of blends a bit more of the industrial style.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Which style of thruster were you starting with?
Well, I started with the warfare for the most part, but I'm currently testing out the sci-fi style.
Hmm. Thank
I
you
think
for
that
the tea check and the unshrimp, Madeline.
because
Nice
I think
showing.
it looks a little better with the mag plates just nestled in there for upwards control.
Mm-hmm. That look good.
Mm, Probably not nearly enough thrusters for left and right, but I can add more when I actually surround the main building, the main end.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a sippy and a treat. I wonder what my treat will be today.
My grandmother sent me the annual Christmas gift packet,
Okay. Uh-huh.
which I have not. Well, I haven't opened the presents that came with it, but
Naturally.
she also, like, whenever she sends it out, it contains like 5 different packets of biscuits as well that obviously have to be eaten.
Obviously.
Obviously. And in this year's packet, she sent a box of like Belgium assorted biscuits.
Hmm.
I don't. The box in the cupboard at the moment, and I can't be bothered to get up to go take a look. But it's essentially like 12 different types of biscuits, all in like an arrangement, and I'm very tempted by some of them. They're very, very, very nice. Honestly, I'm just like, I could go for a biscuit. I could go for a biscuit. I can always go for a biscuit, but you know.
I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is starting to come together, I think.
You know,
Yeah. Thanks, Madeline, for
obviously
your
you
reference
want
to Milky Way.
defensive systems on this, right? To a certain
We
degree.
don't. We, to a certain degree, but the main defensive system is to just not fall over.
Hmm.
This is a thing that survives by bulk, essentially.
Yeah.
It has all of the fuel and munitions that everything else needs to kill whatever is trying to kill it.
Yes.
Like, I think a modern aircraft carrier probably has some own manned guns, but the vast majority of defense for an aircraft carrier is the aircraft.
No, an aircraft carrier actually has quite a lot of weaponry on it.
These
But
days.
well, well, no, even back then. But the main system of defense for an aircraft carrier well, even these days, is the fleet that surrounds it. Not necessarily the fighter jets and stuff.
Which is still more or less what's going to be happening with this thing.
I suppose.
Nope, I am apparently missing some scaffold here. Don't know quite how that happens, but there we go.
You using that scaffolding did actually give me a decent idea.
Oh?
Using scaffoldings in front of the thrusters as, like, visual design breaking up to stuff.
Oh.
Which, yeah, that doesn't look too bad, actually.
My one complaint about scaffolding is that it looks absolutely like a block that should be used in an area where there isn't actually gravity. But if you nudge your character in just the wrong way, you end up levitating and have to use your thrusters. So, bit of a pain, that.
Yes. Not incorrect.
Would they burn it, Dragon Reaper? Oh, what are you referring to?
Well, no, because scaffolding blocks are hollow.
Oh.
And hollow blocks don't get burned by thrusters.
Yeah, we can test that if you like.
Well, not quite now. Give me a second. You have put damage off, right?
No, damage is on.
Damage... Oh, yes. Yeah, just fire all the thrusters. Well, set all the thrusters to override, I suppose.
There we go. There's one.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep. Not a sausage.
Not a sausage.
Conversely, if I put that... Yep. Full armor block is taking damage.
Yeah.
Let's see, what if it was the full side of it?
Well, then it would
does take damage if it would logically be blocking it, but the actual open sides, nah.
Yeah. Which is honestly quite smart for the Space Engineers devs to make it.
Yeah, unusually
like
so.
I hate that we have to say that it's unusually smart for them to do that, but it is.
It's true.
Like, that makes sense, and then you have the weird as hell, like, air pressurization systems, which are like, oh yes, here's your everyday keen airlock. Like, oh god.
Right, do I want to flip the big long conveyor that's going through this thing so it's facing downwards with its open side? It is a change that is purely aesthetic.
Oh my god.
What?
Lying doing something for purely aesthetic reasons?
No, I'm arguing that it is for a purely aesthetic reason, so does it matter? I kind of like being able to see the conveyor underneath the catwalk. But on the other hand, on the underside, there's not a lot going on visually, as a result.
Are you going to be looking at the underside all that much?
Probably not. I mean, this is definitely most interesting to look at from above.
Well, there you have it then. Glebe! Raiding with a party of 7. Hello, my friend. Welcome. Welcome, 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 one and all.
That is definitely developing a look, I think.
Hmm? I mean, it's very long. I will say
I
that
mean,
much.
yeah, needle-style spaceships tend to be long.
Yeah, but it
Interstellar
feels
craft tend to be long.
it feels very long. Like just
It
as a
certainly does. It certainly does when you're standing in the scaffolding, running down
okay.
it.
Let me put it this way, Lang. It feels like you've built a space engineer's nerd pole. Like, there's not really any other way I can phrase that.
I don't think you're in much position to criticize me for having a long spaceship.
What do you mean?
Actually, here's a question: Why? Oh, I know. It's just 'cause these got capped off. I think.
My spaceships are perfectly well proportioned, thank you very much. I'm doing well, Glebe. I'm doing well. As space engineers, I've been taking breaks
Just
from it.
slap
I
this
usually only
over.
play it once a week
Yeah,
on a
that's
Sunday
just
these
it. Okay.
days.
Doubts.
My ships are perfectly well proportioned.
Been a sec since I've seen you playing Space Engineers. What are you up to? Yeah, I dragged Lucian into this. Apparently.
Yes.
More,
Yes, you
more
did.
specifically, all I did was I told you that I would be playing Space Engineers, and you are welcome to join at any point.
Well,
But
that's basically an invitation.
yeah, it's not
Yeah, I
exactly like
mean,
I strung-armed you.
this ship is perfectly well proportioned.
Oh hell, I know you've just done something because the world froze.
It's fine. It's just the Carina.
Oh dear.
You know this ship, Line. You know this ship very
This
well,
is the ship that
actually.
was taking up all the docking space at my station, wasn't it?
It took up one port.
We had to build a new gantry for it.
We were gonna build the gantry anyway. It is a lovely ship. I like this
I
ship a lot.
think I want to say these are actually about that ship's probably about the same length as what I've got currently.
Yes, and like 3 times as wide.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot more. There's a lot more going on with it. Lucian complaining about long ships while building retractable solar arrays.
Yes, and the Centuri Streamliner is a perfectly viable vessel.
Centuri or century?
Centuri, as in
Okay,
the
so there's an I at the end there instead of a Y. Got it.
yeah.
Gotcha.
This is the Centuri Streamliner, or part of it anyway.
Oh.
Look at those subgrids populate.
Oh dear gods. I on the one hand, I'm terrified to see what this does. What this does when it's trying to unfold these, but these do look like they unfold.
Oh yes, they do.
Push the button. Certainly making use of the new solar panels. I will say
yeah.
though, it feels like it feels like they might be occluding each other.
No, actually, they work pretty well, to be honest.
Huh.
Like, all of these are offline for some reason at the moment, but...
Probably because the sun's technically behind the planet.
Oh, so it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Despite the fact I very clearly have a shadow.
Yeah, welcome to Space Engineers. But yeah, this was a vessel that was slowly killing a server.
I can believe it.
Because at one point, all of the hinges inverted themselves and set themselves to 280 degrees.
Oh lord.
And would not, they would not fold back, basically. Because they thought they were rotors for a second, so they set themselves to 280 and just would not move again. And it was essentially just slowly vibrating itself out of existence.
Eesh.
So yeah, this
oh
was...
god, I've just seen the thruster turrets.
You mean the rotary thruster system? Yeah.
Oh god.
it's got very little reverse thrust, so I needed to figure out a way to make it thrust backwards, and so yeah.
Okay, there we are. Just figured out how to look at this thing exactly.
Yeah, it's you're upside down, but
I mean, it's hard to tell because, like, am I upright? No, it just looks that way because of your poor font choices. Okay, there we go.
Poor font choice. How dare you?
When upside down looks as much like the upright letter, then I think that's a poor font choice.
But yeah, this is the Centuri Streamliner. It's another of my pet projects that I've been like slowly working on. But
what exactly is the function of this? Like, what purpose does it serve? Because it doesn't.
Oh,
let's see. I'm seeing
it's my space train.
Your space train.
Yeah, this is a space passenger train, basically.
This is a lot of stuff for a space passenger train.
Well, it's a lot of oxygen generation for passengers, basically.
How many passengers do you expect to carry that you need? Like,
I mean, this is like
5, 10.
This is like an
40 oxygen farms.
You should see the hold on. Fuel carriage. The fuel carriage for this thing is a little bit nuts, shall we say? It's slightly off, but there you go. There's the fuel carriage for this thing lying.
Hang on. Let me get to this. Oh.
I've actually...
You occluded the door somewhat.
Yeah, I pasted it in one block.
Okay. Next question.
Mm-hmm.
That is, let's see, 6 times... Is that... Oh, boy. 6 times 8. 8, 16, 24, 48. You have 48? 48? No, 96?
72.
72
large hydrogen tanks.
Those are... Okay. How many oxygen tanks?
Not that many, actually. It's mostly hydrogen. This is the fuel tank,
okay, that makes a degree of sense. I return to my original question. How many people do you actually need to breathe? I haven't even seen a cryopod yet, so are they just walking around the whole time?
I haven't built those carriages yet.
I see.
I was building a lot of like the engine systems and thinking to myself, well, this is probably going to have like a good 20 carriages of people, right? And each of these carriages is like that big red frame system that you can see. So I was thinking, and like the idea is it's like an intergalactic transport system. Like it's designed to go incredibly long distances very fast. But not that fast, because it's designed to run at sublight. With the occasional skip.
Yeah, whereas this particular ship is meant to be very heavy on the skip.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my
tell you what I will not miss from Space Engineers 1, assuming it does not happen in Space Engineers 2, is that.
Yeah, the little stutter every time. Yeah. I mean... We've seen some interesting stuff on the copy-paste side of Space Engineers 2, and I'm not 100% with it yet. It's like, I worry that it's going to turn out and not be as good as they profess it to be.
I mean, when is it ever?
When is it ever? But, you know, there's hope, at the very least. There's hope. Okay.
Right, let me see... I'm going to do the worst way of finding this out, but I just want to check if I have ensured that there are full control of exactly where this thing goes. So let's see. Got forward and back, got up and down, got left and right. I think. Let's find out.
You think?
Or she doesn't like moving, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think you might need some more gyroscopes.
Hmm.
Oh, that does not shift very fast.
I mean, it's not meant to. That's just for repositioning thrusters, essentially.
I suppose that's true.
Definitely moves up faster, but that's to be expected. It's got basically like two two small thrusters each side to go left and right.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, here is the alternative argument. Do I want this thing to be capable of moving very quickly?
Probably. At least slowing down very quickly.
I mean, the vast majority of its distance is going to be from just it's just going to be from the jump drives. So
Hmm.
the rest of it is basically just like light repositioning. It's like maneuvering thrusters essentially.
Yeah, but like, I think you should at least have decent braking force and
Hmm.
decent like acceleration, just so that like you can turn those off when you want to maneuver. You know.
Hmm. Uh-huh.
And like if you have decent braking force, you can like jump in at speed and then like drop things off essentially. Which is what a carrier needs to do is actually slow down fast enough to be able to launch things quickly.
Again, this thing shouldn't really be moving much at speed.
Well, well, yeah, but you want to be able to get places, you know?
Okay, yep, six gyros is not enough. Is what I'm learning here.
I'm somehow not surprised by that.
Oh. Okay, let me see. That is an extra 6, I believe. Yep, an extra 6 gyros. Let's see if that's enough for it. Definitely still sluggish, but a lot better.
Hmm.
As it's rolling. Oh, yeah, it's rolling is the fastest part of it.
Oh dear.
Not sure exactly how I've managed that, but what that should mean, I just need a couple of more. So calls that sufficient gyros? I think a couple of more. Just a matter of where I place them, so I don't occlude where I eventually want to put stuff. Really. Okay, there's another 8. That is. I guess it makes sense that something this big doesn't turn very quickly. This long.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But it
it's kind of
rotates
not
very
meant
quickly.
to.
That makes sense. The sheer amount of mass I am moving when I spin this thing.
Okay, Dragon Reaper. None of the notifications for my exercise have actually been coming through in chat.
Oh dear.
I just checked the reward request queue, and yeah, there's like 6 of them. So I'll get to that in a minute once I've done this little piece here, and yeah.
Well,
And I
at
was also checking my
1.27 million total mass, This thing still only needs 2 large ion thrusters for point-free gravity. Which is quite an astonishing feat, honestly.
Well, it's not really. That amount of mass is not that much when you think about it in space engineering.
Oh, yeah. But I am at about 7,000 kilonewtons of thrust versus generating 8.6 thousand, so I'm steadily getting towards the limit. Right. I like the notion of having a pressurized section at the frontier before the gantry.
Hmm.
I say the front, the back of it. But I think I will have to rotate some of these conveyors because the top half isn't going to be airtight. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Although does that no, it matters. It matters because there's nothing really stopping it from getting out anywhere else along here, I guess.
I do love how your whole thing is like functionality, and my whole thing is like just complete absence of functionality somehow. And I've immediately started by building like all the aesthetic parts of a thruster system. And then I've gone to, ooh, here's the jump drives. Let's build the interior of the engineering deck while I don't have an engineering deck. Just like, yeah, maybe my thoughts on how to build a ship are a little skewed.
Just a smidge. Just a smidge.
Just a tiny, tiny bit.
No, rotate, thank you. Rotate the way I want you to rotate, dang it. That definitely needs sealing, but we're getting there. One other thing that I have in here, I am generally against these kinds of single block solutions to things in games, but I do have rotary airlocks in here because making an actual functioning airlock in vanilla Space Engineers is just not worth it.
It's not that difficult. In fact, it's pretty easy when you get it right.
The problem, really, is that there is no way to tell the system to vent excess gas.
Yes,
especially oxygen that you can't burn.
Yes, there is.
Uh-huh. What is your proposal?
You have a little vent at the back that activates a door. That when you can set up an event controller to essentially activate an air vent that when it pressurizes opens the door, and then it depressurizes, and thusly you get gas.
Not sound the least bit ridiculous to you, though.
I mean, a little, yes. However, it works, which, you can't really argue with the results, can you?
I can if the results are ridiculous.
The results are not ridiculous. That is how you can vent gas. I do think that there should just be an option on the, like, air vents that's just, like, depressurize and vent gas from X tanks. But, you know. I am not the developer of the game, so...
Would that one of us at least were.
Yes. Let's do... I think we can probably do a stack up, right?
Okay, does this pressurize, or do I need to do more to it?
Answer, yes.
Answer, more or less always, yes. And yep, this does need more to it. Okay. Or we can just have a door that rotates. I mean, if there was a way to just say... To just tell the air vents to, like, just vent gas, it would be so much easier to make a airlock. But the problem with making airlocks in Space Engineers, for the most part, is that you don't tend you generally tend to generate a lot more oxygen than you actually use. And when your tanks are full, the vents will not depressurize.
Well, so the thing about airlocks, right, and especially the thing about the airlocks that I originally built, is I built them flawed the first time I built them. So I essentially built them slightly off, because it was my first time experimenting with airlocks, like vanilla airlocks. I've refined the design a bit, so they work basically flawlessly now. And the way they work is just if the air vent can't depressurize the whole thing, all you have to do is open the door and it'll let that air out.
Yeah, I understand the mechanics of it.
Well, yeah, but like what I'm saying is when I first built them, I built them flawed, so if you open the door, it would immediately close it, which was not the intended design. So yeah, the airlocks are actually quite functional. It's just I fucked up the first time I built them.
This has to be thinking it's coming out down here. Which means I'm going to demolish some of these. Gyros again. Oh well. Right. Is there air in here now? Yes. Hooray. Pressurized it. There's no lights, which is probably the next thing I want to add in here, because Space Engineers gets hecking dark. Like, really, really hecking dark, as I think my screen can show.
I like to use the adaptation plugin. That one works quite well, actually.
Like, Space Engineers, come on. What are you doing? Why is it so dark in here? There are 3 discrete lights in here. They've lit up maybe the block they are in.
Interior. So.
How am I depressurized? What are you talking about? Oh, because you removed the block above me. I see. That's the other thing, is I frequently end up in tight spaces like this. I've also just realized that the part of wall I'm looking at is actually a jump drive. I'm astonished that's... I'm actually a little surprised that this is secured. Well, I can't question it too much, I guess. How does dialing the fall off down make it somehow light up even less?
Oh.
Oh boy, oh boy.
What if we do?
Yo.
Something like this. And then...
Okay. Predictably, that did, of course, render this thing unsecured once again. It's not too surprising. Is there a better inset wall for there, just to give me a little bit more room?
What are you... I mean... Yeah, that's your best bet, really.
Hmm. There we go. Makes this place a little bit more spacious. I don't know what that does for the solar panel efficiency, but it seems to be working just fine, so...
Oh.
And honestly, they're mostly there for visual texture. Okay, let's see if this pressurizes.
I
still.
don't know if this will pressurize, but I'm willing to give it a go for sake of visuals.
Is that on your ship or mine?
My ship.
Okay.
Why would I be working on your ship?
I don't know. Okay, so the solar panels are not pressurized.
Oh dear.
That's fine. Okay, yeah. Cover up the solar panels, and I'm good. Half tempted to try and find space for a jukebox in there. Right. So those are the blocks that actually need to be sealed. I do always... I feel like this might be just a common thing of the scales of, like, voxel-based building games. I always feel like having just sufficient enough space for your character to walk around in an area always feels like it's too cramped.
It does. No, I agree with that. Like, if I'm building in Minecraft, everything needs to be at least, like, either 2.5 or 3 blocks tall.
Yeah, three minimum, yeah. I would say.
Like, I'm fine with, like, the like 1 block gaps in Space Engineers if it's like an engineering corridor or something that needs to feel like a little bit tight. But like if it's a main area, it has to be at least 1.5. That's how I feel about it.
Just trying to see if I can stretch it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. Okay. Now let's see. Is there the equivalent of a half block for interior wall?
I think you just have to use a half block, to be honest.
Yeah, but the interior walls have actual, like, texture to them. Pipeworks, maybe? Pipeworks could maybe do it.
Perhaps. Not
as much as I'd like with that, but I think I've misplaced it anyways.
Yes, a little bit.
Here we go.
That's not too bad, I suppose.
Yeah. Like, as long as it lifts the ceiling up higher, essentially. Granted, it does seem to have dead-ending pipes here, but we won't question that. Versus just having half blocks right there. That does line up perfectly with the interior slope, which is annoying as hell.
Yep, because the interior slope is a half block.
Okay, right. Let me see if I can't do something for the windows as well. I am not remotely contemplating adding a staircase in here, so I can rule that out already.
I've already added one into my build.
I feel like you started with one, because you've had struts the whole way through.
I did have struts the whole way through, and then I thought to myself, well, why not add a staircase?
I was going to say, is this functional? But of course it's functional, because mag boots.
Well, it's in gravity it would be functional. Well.
This would not be disabled access.
No, it is definitely not. But it is functional to a certain degree.
Like, I've been recently contemplating somehow crowdfunding getting a wheelchair recently, and that would not be something I could climb without getting out of a wheelchair.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, this used to be how, like, before, like, ladders and stuff, this used to be how people just did, like, general staircase systems. Because we didn't used to have those, like, catwalk stairs, right? So if we wanted it to have an actual staircase and go up relatively steep, it had to be, like, either a 2x1 on a flat or a 2x1 vertical. We didn't have any other options. Back in the bad old days.
Yeah. Okay, that has... It's not quite perfect for the window, but I'm pretty sure there is an alternative armor block for that. Let's see. Off slope inverted maybe could do a trick for this. Yeah, that'll be perfect. And then, oh boy, this is going to be a tough shape to find. But maybe the half slope corner inverted light armor. They need to come up with some better classification system because this is ridiculous. Yeah. when we get to that level.
Yeah.
It's either that or the light armor sloped corner base.
It's all over the place. It really is.
Just turn the gravity off and float around. Look, turning off gravity should not be how you resolve an accessibility issue.
I mean, in fairness, if you could, it would technically resolve the accessibility issue to a
Only
certain
if you
degree.
could do it per person, though.
Yes, but
Because
you would also need...
like making somebody who is in a wheelchair able to levitate on command is great, but also doing it for Granny who's trying to get up the escalator, probably not a good idea.
Yeah, like, you would need... Like, people would need a certain amount of, like, training to do it properly. You know?
Possibly also warning.
Well, yes, but, like, well, training sort of implies warning as well, you know? But yeah, they would need a certain degree of, like, training in how to navigate in that sort of gravity field. That's not actually a bad idea. Ooh, I have
What, turning off gravity?
No, I was thinking about how I wanted to set up the bridge, and I thought to myself, well, what if we set up the bridge at the back?
I mean, that's what I've got here.
Yeah, but, like, I was...
Like, I am very much, I guess, going for a kind of, like, cargo ship kind of, approach.
Yes.
Quite why they're always at the back, I'm not sure, but they usually are. I'm sure there's some logical reason for it.
Probably.
Probably. Heck if I know what it is, but probably.
Probably, yeah.
Alright, check me mass. How are we doing? 1289. Still significantly under my thruster capacity here, that's good. So how do I want the bridge to look? That is the next question. And it's a question I have about 5 minutes to answer.
5 minutes? Really?
Yeah, because that's what my stream ends. Time flies, don't it?
Yeah, it really does. Oh, that's what I get for pondering the entire time on thruster packs.
Yeah, annoyingly though, there are oh so many bridge pieces that are currently in Contact DLC that I don't have. So I currently only have the original 3. Up here definitely also has to pressurize, so I should bring in a conveyor. Let's make a full conveyor, that way if one of these loses pressurization, they don't both. I do like that I am pretty close to the maximum height of the reactors behind me here, so it shouldn't be too hard to just kind of slope this in with a back cowling. That'll look nice. Alright. I think once I pick up the Contact DLC, I definitely want to make this a little neater. A little bit more smooth.
I just realized what I'm technically building. I'm building a barge. It's not like it's not a flatbed truck. It's a barge. That's what I'm building.
What do we class what I'm building as then?
Nerdpole.
Nerd poles go up. This goes along.
Up is relative in space.
Wait, can I just use another full vent fan there? Because the back of that should still pressurize. I can! Yay! So if somehow the respawn chamber loses integrity, I guess we'll call it, the bridge will not likewise. Unless the respawn chamber is gone. Oh, perfect. Good. I was worried this was rotated the wrong way. Oh, but its friend is. Its opposite number is. Heck. Okay, that's obviously not going to work. Unless I rotate it upside down, but then it won't be symmetrical. Which is obviously the most important part.
Okay, this part of these bridge pieces really annoys me, honestly, when they don't provide that extra block that's just like, oh, that would fit there.
Yeah. That's an interesting approach so far.
Well,
I love how you're making use of the bridge bits, which is very much to provide like maximum view. And then and then you have the actual bridge cockpit, which has view only forward and up.
well, yeah, but the bridge cockpit does not provide maximal view, sadly, regardless of where you put it.
Which is just bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, the one you want to actually use for it, really, is the helm.
I mean, what I could probably... No, because then you wouldn't be able to see forward, so it doesn't make a difference.
Right. Oi, I am out of time in my stream. How much more does yours have to go?
I don't... When it comes to Space Engineers, I don't really have a set timeline. You know this. I could go... Most Space Engineers streams I do end up 6-7 hours long. I don't have to go that long. But, like, that's usually how long they end up being. Through no fault of my own, I should add. Obviously. But I'm not required to go longer than I deem necessary. No. I have no contractual obligation for that with Twitch.
Imagine, though.
No, I don't want to. Thank you very much. I'd rather keep my independence as a content creator. Honestly. Oh, as a creator. is what I prefer to say these days.
Hmm.
The whole content part of it just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of worn thin, hasn't it?
Little bit. It's like I don't want to be. I don't want to be a content farm. Basically, I want to be a creator, and that's about it, really.
Hmm.
And I want to make things that people enjoy, and leave it at that.
I'm going to polish off this bridge bit as best as I can. And then I'm going to call it for the Nate at the very least. I think I have gotten something I'm actually quite pleased with so far. I think this is a good start. Versus what I had before, which was kind of like vague flailing that kept ending up very bricky.
Yeah. I mean, I have a decent visual of what I want. All that's missing is, like, the docking platform. And, like, a couple of the power systems, maybe. But overall, it's pretty close to being done. I might name it and blueprint it, and then...
There we go. I was just thinking, have I built something so big I can't zoom out enough to see it all? No, I have. It's just behind a ship.
Yeah, I'm just gonna name this the Lying Barge. And blueprint it. But I have something that I can work on and maybe send you later.
So let's compare. Let's do our final comparison here of what we've each managed to do today.
Sure, give me a second. I should probably quickly set out how long this is actually meant. About that. Yeah. So the eventual total length of this thing.
We definitely have a lot more frost tonight, but I've gone for bare minimum, as needlecraft tend to be. And I am definitely going to put like some kind of shielding, like armor plating around the back of this, for sure. That's probably going to be like more of a rounded thing. So don't judge the back end too heavily. It is currently pure function.
That's not too bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, I'm going for a much heavier armored visual than you are.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going for the kind of ship you tend to see in a setting that has like energy shielding, essentially.
Or a setting that's less energy shielding and more just like early 20th century systems that are all relying on really light parts, essentially. Essentially like the ISS, if you will.
Yes.
And I'm going for a more like heavy armor Star Trek style of just like everything needs to be armored to a certain degree because we haven't developed the energy shields yet, essentially.
Yeah, yours. I'm trying to think what yours reminds me of, and I know this isn't accurate, but the image that's popping into my brain is the Lost in Space movie with Matt LeBlanc.
Oh, you're gonna have to remind me, lying. I can't. It's not ring a bell.
That you would probably have been very young when that came out, so yes. But if let's see if I can Google it real quickly. Let's see, that's the recent TV series. That's not what I'm after. Which does actually feature a colony ship, come to think of it. The TV series. Let's see. There it is. Okay, let me... Oh boy. Yeah, this is from 1998. Dear God, I'm showing my age.
It's okay, Lang. We all get old eventually.
I guess I'm also getting a little bit of the... I want to say the Prometheus dropship?
Prometheus
Not 100%.
dropship? Are you sure?
Like the front of it at the very least, yeah. Because it had kind of a neck. I guess I might also be thinking of like Firefly. So let's see. You've got. Do you have multiple jump drives per nacelle?
Oh yes, there's 8
How many
total
jump drives? We only need 3.
You asked to do major jumps, so I added major jumps.
I'm sure.
It's hobby.
It's certain. I'll give it that, yeah. But it's only they're like the planning was only for 3 of them. You've got more than double that, and nearly 3 times that.
Yeah, I know. It's fine.
Okay, let me check the numbers on this thing and see if it actually stands a chance in lunar gravity. Answer is probably, from what I'm seeing here. It's still a bit lighter than mine. 1836295. Large grid. Any cargo containers?
Nope.
0 cargo containers currently. Okay.
Currently 0, yeah. It'll probably have more thrusters on the lower section and the sides when the actual barge section is built. But
okay, so this would take 2 large ions to lift, and or alternatively 17 small, and you currently have about 14. So
yeah.
you are very close, but
close.
It would not be able to take off from the moon.
Well, it would if you angled it from...
Yes, if you pointed it straight up, then yes, absolutely it would.
Yeah. Which, you know, it's doable, it's just not, like, the best way to do it, realistically. But as I said, it's going to have more ion thrusters when the barge section is actually built as well. So yeah.
I must say, I do enjoy walking up and down this gantry. There is some nice view around here. Yeah. But okay, we might come. I might come back to this next week. Not sure. But that is all, and then some, that I have time for today, everybody. So let me drop a save on that, and see if there's anywhere I can throw you to.
I will quickly do a blueprinty, and I'm gonna throw... Oh, Farrell's streaming.
Yeah, let's send you to Farrell.
Yeah, let's go to Farrell. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. I hope you all had fun.
How long has Farrell been live? Okay. Farrell is, in fact, reacting to Space Engineers too, so perfect content.
Perfect content. Yeah, thank you all very much for joining us, everyone. I hope you all had fun. We are going to raid a Farrell. I am not going to be streaming next week because I'm probably moving, and if I am streaming, I'm going to be very stressed about it, so I'm not going to be streaming. So yeah, thank you all very much for joining us. I will hopefully
have many a
stream
Thursday, next week,
but we shall see. Moving stuff is going to be a time.
I should imagine. Yeah, my next stream